Yeah. Hello, yes. Let me get my words right and then approach. Woman, me treat you like a man is supposed. You never have to cry. No. I know everyone can relate to find a special someone. She's rather one. You said I want her in my life.
Let me ask you, in solution, who do you think cheat more, men or women?
Women.
Men.
Yeah, I would say both. Both. I will be biased.
I think it's equal. Yeah, is that a fair statement?
Statistically, women cheat more because you can't really catch them.
Can't catch you.
Men stupid with their talk, women don't talk.
Men or women?
But I believe women, you know.
Men.
Men. From your experience, why would you say men cheat more?
All men are dogs.
In St. Lucia, which community would you say men cheat more?
The one from Corinth.
Grizzly and Moshi.
Boy in Castries, and those are living by ducks. By ducks.
New York, you have New York, England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, there you have it. In New York, women cheat more in St. Lucia. Yeah.
Is woman that cheating, man?
I won't lie, when you listen to other females, you actually figure out it's females. But from my experience is man.
Women.
Women. Why you think St. Lucian women cheat more?
Majority of solution women are gold diggers. So.
Women just cheat more, you know, because Kukutland look Sapanima. They're so quick, and as a matter of fact, in that young generation, the first generation, say wapwa. That's the way they is. I believe women cheating more in the world.
If the men wasn't cheating, the women would not cheat because it's payback time.
Women.
Right. Why would you say women?
Because man can stay without sex, but women can't stay without sex.
Who cheat more?
Yes.
Cheating is when you lie about it, you know. So they don't have man or woman, it's who lying about it.
Both sexes.
Which community in St. Lucia would you say men are cheaters?
You see the district, I should say, of Grosile.
Castries.
Not sure.
Well, Babono.
Okay. Who cheat more, men or women?
Women.
Women. Alright, why do you believe women cheat more?
Because women always cheat, they go in your phone, they go in everything. So that's cheating.
They are equal, actually. But it's just that men are found out more.
Men are found out more.
Yeah.
Why would you say men are found out more?
Because women are calculative. We have brains. We use it.
Who cheat more, men or women?
Well, we have no evidence of men cheating, but we have evidence of women cheating.
When I think about it, I think men cheat more.
Both.
How many women are there to men?
There are more women to men.
Okay, well your answers is clearly there.
Alright. So
I think both.
Men.
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 Obviously, women.
Which community?
Yeah.
No, Castries.
Castries.
Yeah, Castries. I will repeat Castries, eh?
My mother telling me, check out the woman.
It is alleged that a lot of cheaters come from Babono. I don't know.
You would say from your personal experience, women cheat more.
Well, to me, I cheat. I'm a cheater. Okay? So I know for the women, but I'm a cheater, okay?
Okay, now that's ridiculous.
Okay, Castries. Well, if I say a name of a place, everybody could come for me.
The public sector, all the nice working girls with long nails.
Right.
They are the top cheaters.
And slurry.
And sorry. Boy, I can't give up community. I let's see the whole St. Lucia because all women let's cheat. Big up yourself.
17 constituencies.
Why would you say men cheat more?
Because you'll have a company where they just cheating anything. That's why.
Because women like nice things.
Right.
And they have a lot of jackass men.
Right.
They like to give the woman nice things. They like another man to give the woman nice things. So when the woman want nice things, she will cheat on you.
Right.
It just in them. I don't know. God make them like that. Yeah. The men started it and now the women following in their footsteps. I don't know. Both of them doing it. See,
Right.
both of them doing it.
Right.
You have nobody doing it that one doing it more than that one. Both of them doing it.
Because we both love sex.
Because men don't really think.
when it comes to cheating. But with women, we think and we kind of like people, but men just do it because they can do it. So it's a little more easier for them to cheat on us women.
They want expensive things like clothes, shoes, cars, and things. We don't advocate to them.
Because it's in the nature.
Why you believe they cheat more?
You know, women full of tricks, you know. And they have man shortage, so.
Man shortage.
Share.
Okay. Women, you see lying, women can take lying to a different level. Yeah, women can sit down in front of you and cry and bawl and kneel down and still be crying. Yeah, you can't get more to do that. You will catch it. So let me ask you a question. In St. Lucia, who cheat more, men or women?
But it's the women, the women have like this segmented.
Men. Life, men just cheat more. Men are cheaters. Well,
Both of them.
Well, women, because this generation nowadays, they're really cheating more.
Men. Man. I would say men.
Woman and a shit boy.
Both.
Depends.
Which community would you say women cheat more?
January.
Why would you say January?
Because all the girls I pass from January, all of them is cheaters. Liars, cheaters, everything in one.
The valley.
Same.
All districts.
Well, I find Castries and Jersey men.
The valley.
Castries, I guess. Them Castries men like rum shop, so I believe Castries.
But you know the South builds a lawyer, eh? So I feel Castries.
I would say more in the north, mostly in the north.
Definitely.
Ancillary.
Tell me, Mala. Mwe, Kadeshiwe. If I can, I will. Hello?
The voice of the people all around St. Lucia. Drama Blitz.
A lot of the culture and the history of Kingston resides right here in downtown Kingston, traditionally and historically. But you'll hear on the music tour, even in the murals today, you'll hear about some of the greats that came out of downtown Kingston. Also, very importantly, what we're trying to do is about place making. So that's why you see the murals, but it's also about the people. So we're trying to invest in the people. We're trying to invest in the creatives behind our culture.
Here is we have a seafood linguine pasta, and those of you who know me, I really love pasta. I love pastas, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this. It looks really good. and it smells really good. It smells amazing. So I put on like some calamari, some mussels, you know, the real bell peppers. Yes, so let's dive in.
With a tomato-based sauce, people.
Oh, okay. So we were just informed that it was sauteed with white wine. So I'm excited to try it.
You got your send loose from the love, yeah. Hey, what she wants to be like. Boy, she wants to look like, yeah. Them girls in the magazine, she got dreams, she got things. You see herself on the big screen. She asks, do you love me? I say you're just right, absolutely. I love you, child.
Which woman do you think from me exactly? Boy, the man 360. I said, no, I didn't say that. You go to the woman here, I tell my guys, I go to come and look for you, and we'll talk about which one you think from me. It doesn't.
Because, no, it does matter, Jason. It does matter.
You don't want to the story.
You never seen WWC when Roxy
for a week. That different. I hope it was the week she was on she cycle. But
no.
It's every day for a whole month. Oh Jesus, nah man. You
now
can't be
you
tired
know.
every single blasted day for a whole month.
Miss Mellow.
Oh my god. Y'all done now, done. That's not nice. Y'all.
Grown Folks Only Podcast.
Good night, folks. Welcome to Grown Folks Only Podcast. Tonight, we are doing part 2 of bullying, except we're taking it to 21st century. We're going to take a dive into cyberbullying, where you use digital platforms to repeatedly threaten, harass, or intimidate persons. Tonight, we have our first scenario presented by Femi.
So, guys, I was given this story by someone, and basically I'll let you guys be the judge on whether or not you consider it bullying. But in my opinion, I think the teacher was being bullied, right? So the teacher posted some pictures on their personal social media page, right? Some students, I'm not quite sure if students were in the teacher's class or just students of the school, but they got wind of the pictures on the teacher's Instagram page, screenshot them, and then had it going around in a WhatsApp group. So they were talking about the teacher and making fun of the teacher, talking about the position of the picture and who was in it and how the person was dressed and what's not, right? Then someone in the WhatsApp group decided to send it to the teacher along with the comments that were being made. And the teacher then reported it to the principal, and the students were suspended on investigation. All the students in the group were suspended. They found out the amount these students in the group because clearly someone ratted them out.
Can you give us a little more context on the pictures?
Oh, sorry. So it was a female teacher. The teacher was sitting on their partner on the beach in a swimsuit. So it wasn't like, I wouldn't say
it's explicit.
I wouldn't say it's an explicit picture. I just would say it's just, a funny, fun-giving vibe picture. Like,
okay, that's
you sitting down on top your man lap in a swimsuit, the person in a swimsuit.
And was it secondary or primary school?
Secondary school students. Yeah. And they basically was making all kind of random comments about the teacher, the swimsuit, the hair. Huh? They were going after her appearance. They spoke about the teacher in a not very pleasant light and they called her all kind of names. In my opinion, I think that's bullying. Because what you doing with the woman picture from her personal... But there's two sides to it though. Because I just also feel the teacher shouldn't have any students on their social media following them. And B, why is your page open to the public? If you know you are a teacher and you're teaching secondary school students, I would privatize my page.
I disagree with that.
And explain why.
So, if you had explicit pictures, it's one thing. I'm sure it wasn't even a thong. It was probably just a regular swimsuit. And
even if it was a thong,
listen.
It's my flipping
Wait, no, listen.
I was with me and my man.
Well, you asked me to explain, right? You asked me to explain.
But how you could say a
you
thong
asked me to explain. You asked me to explain. So a thong can be considered explicit, okay? Because it exposes more of your posterior of a woman than usual. But the point I'm making is that I shouldn't have to privatize my page with my regular everyday life pictures so that people cannot take it. And especially if I put something that I don't think someone could take, but then they would take it and then just change it around verbally, nasty comments, whatever it is. It makes you live in fear of being normal. I think these children should have been made a big example of, so that it would not happen again. And I hope the teacher didn't get in trouble or anything.
Oh, no.
Well, she did say they suspended the students.
They suspended the students.
I don't think suspension was much.
I do not know what happened after the investigation. That part of the story was not made privy to me. But before that, I just know that the students were under investigation and they were taking it seriously. The teacher was not at fault. It's her personal page. And therefore, she shouldn't be held liable for whatever was leaked. She didn't send out the pictures. She posted something. And it's not like... Once again, I don't think the pictures were provocative or in any weird way. It wasn't promoting, a strip club or something. She wasn't caught in no uncompromising weird position. So,
not personally, girl.
I just think that was weird.
Is that bullying number one? And what do you think about those?
Okay, well, first of all, I think, Carol, you're being very presumptive about seeing the photo beforehand. She could have been in whatever she was in, but clearly the teacher has maybe has not grown emotionally or like Femi pointed out, she really should have had a page private because you deal
not have.
I understand where you're
get
coming
your
from.
point, though.
Yeah, but you're dealing with young adults. You're dealing with young adults who are growing up, and you're at that phase where you're a little bit, more inquisitive or more rude, fast, or call it whatever you want to be, whatever you want to say. But yeah, so you should have at least probably protected yourself by having your page private, for one. And for two, clearly the woman was not in a state to own her shit and just be like, well, yeah, okay, so what? She let teenagers affect her to the point that she felt, weak, insecure, and couldn't handle the pressure.
I still go back to the fact that she should not have to have a page private, simply because, like we said in the first part of this topic, where there are no repercussions for kids when their emotional keyboard is smaller and they're governed by just the basic emotions, fun, happy, sad, hungry, whatever it is, and then they don't see the end result of the actions that they take.
Agreed.
So if you make an example, and I don't mean beat them up, but you make a heavy example of children that do it, like they used to do before, another child will second guess because they'll be like, boy. But if now you put the onus on the target to protect themselves versus the attacker to know better, it's a problem in society.
Agreed.
You're going to make more attackers and you're going to make more targets just shield themselves because you're getting beat over your force field because there are no repercussions for the attackers.
Let me play devil's advocate just for a quick second. A quick second. I actually believe the person that shared the comments and the pictures with the teacher is the bully.
And they were looking out for the teacher.
If it never left the group, it would have no effect.
Because she was the target, but it wasn't meant to go to her. They was just having laughs amongst themselves. I get good perspective on that.
I do get that perspective, but the person wasn't, I don't think the student was aware that the other students were not going to make this known or share it. How are they so sure that it wasn't shared to anybody else?
No, but the only sure thing that you do know is that how she got the information initially.
She got the information because someone in the group
snitched. But hear me proper. If you and I having a private conversation, let's forget the group chat, and we're running joke on someone, right?
Yeah.
The person is not present. There's no bullying in that scenario.
Okay, time out. I'm gonna shoot you one different, right? With sexual harassment training, if someone only hears a conversation that they deem or feel uncomfortable about, it's considered sexual harassment, whether it's directed at them or not. So why is bullying, or in this instance, why is this scenario any different?
But my point is,
because maybe the person in the group felt uncomfortable about the tone in which the conversation was going, and therefore decided to let the teacher know, well, this is what they're talking about you, and this is what they're saying. And you posted your own personal picture, and they took it and twisted it into something else. So this innocent person could have just been like, yo, I was cool. I'm just saying, this innocent person took a picture and posted it. And this other person in the group now all of a sudden had a change of heart in the way in which the conversation was going.
Or they probably wasn't participating in it all.
Well, exactly that. You can be added into a group and you not join a group on your own volition. People have your number and just add you.
I was just expressing.
No, and I'm just saying this.
I was just expressing to you that the only way the bully could have affected her is by somebody giving her the information of what was being discussed, if you want to consider it in private. So, so the example I'll give is that
kids talk about shit.
You might run joke on somebody in private conversation, right?
Yeah.
It never reached the ears. It's never meant to reach the ears, right? And they'll be none the wiser.
Well, I get what you're saying, because it's kind of like certain derogatory words, like the N-word in America is equivalent to kefir in South Africa, is equivalent to something else on black people elsewhere. But if you take a black man from from South Africa and bring him to the US and you call him the N-word, he'll be like, but you call him what he's used to being derogatory, it would affect him. So you're getting on the lines of that. She didn't know what was going on. But the issue here is it's borderline bullying in a sense that she didn't know it was happening, so it wasn't affecting her, and it was in a small group. But the student being the teacher's pet, like some people would say, alerting her of it would now make it bullying. But were they targeting her after she knew, or was it just the information about her picture getting out in a conversation is the question?
No, from my understanding, that's what it was.
All right, so here's my take on the whole situation. Whenever you post something online, you have to remember you always sign in a little disclaimer saying the internet is forever.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put it out there,
it's out there.
It's out there. And it's up to interpretation. Now, no matter what you do these children will continue to think however they're thinking. And they would think it in their head. Like, an example, I was watching a world leader recently, and I said she really have a interesting. She looking beautifully challenged.
Wow.
Her face kind of special. And then I saw some views coming up about the lady. I was like, shit. So it's not me alone that see that. They say she look like the cat titan on Attack on Titan. I said, yeah, that's exactly what she looked like in my head. Am I a bully? Or thinking that, or everybody just, you know?
Are we all bullies for seeing it?
Yeah. And then I watch a younger picture of the lady and I say, yeah, she used to look nice when she was young, but I know some everything Botox and age and money.
She just didn't age well.
No. Hold on. I get into the meat of the thing. Now the lady have her profile. She posting her things on it, her and her boyfriend. Children will be children. They don't like authority, whatever. And children will always do weird things inside their head. Now, when you reach the 21st century and the dynamic of the internet, before it used to be we passing notes in class and the teacher catch your notes, you saying something about somebody else. But with the internet, it have the tendency to amplify our darkest shadows and thoughts. And you can always find at least one person online that agree with you or a bot.
True.
So I'm somewhere between what Kurt said. Is it really bullying or is it just kids being kids? And maybe the better thing would have been if she had never known them children were saying them things about her. Because I've also been in a situation where I left the group and then somebody in the group started saying something about me. And then two persons come to me and say, hey, look, that person saying something about you. And let me tell you, I go for a mate straight to his head on the next public forum. I say, okay, let's play. Then he say, oh no, I'm sorry. He basically was saying he took some woman from me, right? I say, but wait, what am I talking about? As I go online and I start typing, I go for him. I say, okay, you say I'm trouble. Let me show you trouble. Boy, so I don't talk about cyberbullying because I can be a real asshole online.
No,
you're a certified cyberbully.
Exactly. You see exactly what you said there is exactly the point I was coming to. Society is now training the targets to retreat and just shrink, whereas you are supposed to be able to take it and dish it out. 30 years ago, when you were in secondary school,
I know, right? Like you out here just making
that old, bro.
Just taking away people's age, God. Like, what's your real see?
Okay, 40 years ago.
30 years ago.
Okay, years ago. I revealed my 35 years ago when we entered secondary school. I just joking.
You're old,
right? But 30 years ago when you were in secondary school, 25 years ago, you know, where if you couldn't dish out, you would become the target. So you would have to learn to take it and give it. And now I find the world has become soft, where online, and don't take me wrong, I am not frivolizing, not downplaying anything that has happened to anybody who was bullied online. But the way we have pushed everyone to stop being mean according to them, and it now has made people emotionally unstable and emotionally unable to deal with conflict, is causing cyberbullying and bullying in general to become rampant and more effective.
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
you have to have, it always takes two to dance. So you have to have the victim and the aggressor. So what I did, I went online and I said, the person, which woman you think from me exactly? Boy, the man 360. I said, no, I didn't say that. He go to the woman here, I tell him, guys, I go to come and look for you and we'll talk about which woman you think from me. He go, I heard from the woman, I heard from other people. They say, oh, no, it's not that. He reversed everything he said. It wasn't that he meant. The group. So what he's saying is the group mentality make him say those things unprovoked. I make sure I say it like that. I make sure I say it like that.
So peer pressure?
Yeah, peer pressure make him go and say, he take my woman, because apparently I have a reputation of jumping through windows or something like that.
What the hell?
Are you jumping through windows?
That's a different conversation.
But we have to keep in mind what happened online. When you put it online, your kids' pictures, your younger pictures. I even seen some of my friends and I see them post some pictures. You sure you want to put that online? Because in my line of work, they make us do courses on cybersecurity and whatnot. And you have to remember, there are some people just watching your profile waiting to see some things. There have some people, friends, that you may not be on good terms with, watching your profile waiting to see some things. And I've been through all them scenarios. Post a picture of being a young lady and somebody think that was their woman, go and complain to their woman, what you doing if bit still? And it's not even that woman that day. And then she come in and I was like, my girl, I don't have nothing to do with you again. Why would I provoke you or provoke the person and post your picture? So I get accused of being a cyberbully when it's not even that person. I was like, I don't go and say, but what?
You could have flipped it and make it seem like they were bullying you though, because why they mark with your page?
Yeah, somebody that say, yeah, you see that person still, talking to that person and that person. I was like, nah, it's not nothing like that. It's nothing like that. So you have to be very careful. The message go through, what do you call it, that when you pass the secrets? So by the way, I pass it to you, and you pass it to her, and you pass it to him, and then I hear that back. I don't know who's that Jason fella.
It's probably a whole new message.
But to me, the paper trail on cyber is different than the paper trail in real life. Eh?
Yeah, when you put something online, they're watching you.
Even if you delete it, it's still flipping there.
And now with AI,
you see, there's a
and the issue is, wait, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, me being a gamer still. I've been online, and what my game I really like to play is Apex. That's my de-stress once in a while.
Apex Legends.
Yes, all right. That's my decompress. And then sometimes I'm online and I'm talking, and I've been playing long enough. I'm a decent player. I wouldn't say I'm top tier or whatever, but there are days the brain fire and all. You're good, and you meet some jackasses on it, and then they are the toughest people you can talk online and do this. And I met some other guys that just laugh because they're like, it's an internet warrior, because they have just realized that, one, they have the ability to be assholes, be certified bad men online, because there's no physical,
no consequences,
no consequence.
Yeah, they don't.
You understand? But thanks to the cybersecurity of gaming now, you can report someone. And here's the thing, every game and conversation is recorded for up to a number of days. So you can report the person, and they will ask you when, what game were you playing, around what time, and they can go back and play the recording to see if you were being a bully and give you the repercussions on it. But most people just dish it out.
Oh, okay.
You just dish it back out. You understand? Because you're a gamer. You have to be aggressive in being a gamer.
I think it's all that have me like that, because I play League of Legends, I play Call of Duty, all those are kind of things. In fact, we're right in the same room and we speak at each other while playing Call of Duty.
Yo, seeing us get hot on them games, you.
That is not bullying. And I play League of Legends, and boy, the kind of things that people tell you is just laugh and vote if you're dead.
Yeah.
It's a game, it's not what I eat my taxes, it's not changing the price of cheese.
That's like online trolling.
But it's still
trolling is a thing by itself. That's just somebody just trying to be extra.
Cantankerous and extra, yeah. But then there are guys who are bullies. There are guys who will say things and cuss you out and like, oh, you're a noob and you're L and you're this and you're that. And if you are not emotionally strong, it can get to you. You understand? You make a faux pas and somebody says something to you and you're like, oh boy, wow, yeah, that's true, But being raised to have a brother back removes you as a target.
It does.
They're making everyone have smaller and smaller and smaller backs till your target is a great.
That's why I said like broad fucking back. You remember?
You understand?
You sure? I just never owned bikes.
You give a man a lash of broomstick, of course.
So going back to the situation with the teacher, like this is exactly what I was saying earlier. She did not have that ability to just take it. I mean, you may not necessarily want to dish it out on teenagers, but she didn't have the ability to take it. She wasn't able to handle it for whatever reason. And I feel, again, that she should have just not had it up or not had it public so that way the kids couldn't get access to it.
Let's agree to disagree.
I would say you want to do something there. How I would frame it is that teacher probably already went through it and have some scars with whatever those kids were saying and it resonated with her.
Right, possibly.
And it took her back to a place because I've definitely seen situations where they tell you something like your foot meg or your beard not growing or your eyes big.
Yeah.
And they just rip that bandage off and it takes you back to that fetal position. And all the years pass, just bring you right back to where you start from in a circle. And the kids put you back in that position because they're just trying to bring you down to the level. Most of the time, he's trying to bring you down. Sometimes you want to scrap, like you say, you want to cuff them in the head.
But you got to be the bigger person.
But it's also sometimes not to tear you down, but the narcissistic trait of seeing the reaction.
Yeah.
You understand? Getting that, boy, that's a Nigel. That's a head big ass Nigel. And then Nigel like, boy, wow. So every time I just pass Nigel, and so in their mind, like, yeah, boy, get to that, man, because I have an internal wound. That I'm dealing with. You understand? So I'm bringing it out. Because like always say, most bullies were bullied. Or most bullies are masking some emotional trauma or something that they've been through. You know?
True. The thing about online, I say especially as they behind a keyboard, they're not seeing the person, it's just push a button. It emboldened them to entertain some of the worst characteristic traits, just like a stroke patient. Any of you ever had to deal with a stroke patient?
No, but I've heard stories.
But I've heard stories.
Boy, they can get really terrible and bitter. Now
they don't have the thing.
Yeah, they don't, so they will just say and do things to just annoy people around them. It can be...
They say hurtful things, yeah.
And it's actually statistically known that the caretakers of people who have disabilities or stroke patients actually have a lower life expectancy because of that.
Stress.
Yeah, the stress of dealing with somebody like that. So they online there, things may not be going good for them and they're just looking to pass on that anger to somebody else. So we have a choice as people to use whatever somebody say as a stumbling block or a way to just develop ourselves and address certain things. Instead of running from it, just deal with it.
All right, so let me introduce the dynamic of cyberbullying. They have persons who, I guess we will have to put it. They use social media. Social media is their friend.
Yeah.
That's the environment. That's where they thrive. That's what they think, and they find their neighborhoods in those communities, the kin in those communities, and they use those things as crutches to the fact that they cannot necessarily socialize in the real world. And they have had a couple of situations. I know of one most recently where a young TikToker who had a good enough following, but in a space where, where people who had mental health issues would fester. And I think in there she was being bullied among peers, if you want to put it that way. She was being bullied among her peers, and it drove her to suicide.
Where is that?
It was a TikToker, a young lady out of the States. And she was a black girl. And the community that she was in, where she was looking for support, right? The very persons within that community who don't know her personally, but know of her because of the space that they share,
Right.
bullied her to the point where she committed suicide.
So here's the thing. Why didn't she just close it up to come out of that space?
Yeah, but that's you and I would be able to close our computers, but that's her space, that's her home.
But not just that, like. What I also realize is that these kids or younger generation of people, they look for that kind of gratification. They actually appreciate people online more than in person. Like meeting people in person is weird to them, and they don't really resonate with the people that they meet in person. They care more about their online presence than they do about their real life appearance. Like, I know some people that care about how much followers they have on each different platform and all kind of thing. And like one bad comment does make them feel really down for like how much days. Like, that's not me. I could give two shits about what you want to say from what you don't want to say about my picture or my post. But people care about that shit. And it does drive them to do things like that. It's like, I'm not downplaying that that's how it makes them feel, but that is a form of bullying and it's serious.
So let me just repeat.
But you have to think about it in their mindset.
Yeah. So let me find out a couple of things that you could probably relate to in terms of shows and programs. Shows and programs. Gossip Girl. You all know that one?
Of course, I watched that 3 times.
Never heard of Gossip Girl?
You guys suck. 109 or 210.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they did a rerun of the show with the younger cast.
But more on a different tangent, that one took really well. Put in reasons why.
Yes.
Boy,
Right.
Netflix.
13 Reasons Why was about
And
a
suicide.
A
And-
student that committed suicide
and
and,
more-
left notes, clues, everything
Right.
as to why they did what they did.
And more recently, the film that was done in England with the one shot camera, everything was done in one take. I can't remember the name of the series. Baby, help me out. What's the name of the series? Adolescence?
I think that's
Adolescence. Adolescence was with the young boy who they arrested for killing a young student. And the story goes as it progresses. He did kill the person, but she called him an incel. I think that's what she called him, an incel or something so. And the person who died was technically a bully to the boy that killed her.
So he lashed out.
So it made sense as to why he killed her.
I don't say it makes sense. It doesn't make sense.
And
but it puts you.
sense as to why he chose to do it, not that
Yeah, that was the motive, right?
Right. Okay.
So what it brought to, like, if you watch that series, you could relate to that series. What you get from it is not just the roller coaster of emotions and stuff that the young man went through, but how his actions and how it affected his family as well.
Yeah.
His father and his mother, his siblings, and how what and the effect that it had on the investigating officer and his family and the thing, because all those people were in one community. And it all stems from some level of bullying, which was rather quiet, if you want to put it a bit on cyber, right? Or related to what they call the red pill society. They made that in connection. They used to make the connection between how Andrew Tate, right, would relate to young men, and they were coming from that sphere. So all that kind of thinking in terms of, like, you're a bit of an incel. I can't say what the definition of an incel is there now. You could probably look it up, but that's a word they were using to basically call him more like a simp.
I still stick behind this all stems from like the old people say, brought up see. You understand? How the generations have been forced to change the way they raise their kids, have been forced to go through living life so quickly that they don't have time to stop and smell the roses on their children. And then you go out and then, so what, you see, sticks and stones. You could call me what you want to call me. Unless you haven't physically touched me, you have no power over me.
Yeah,
No.
but
No,
but I would like to argue that words do hurt.
Hear what I'm saying? If someone says something about you, if you were brought up to have a strong mind and a strong will, nothing someone says should harm you to the point that it really affects you. I don't say words don't hurt, because you'll get the initial, yeah, she said that. But you know what?
But it
Fuck
depends
that.
on
Let
who's
me move
saying
forward.
it to you, though. Because sometimes, exactly.
Right. So we know there's a small section of this topic that, yes, it will hurt, like coming from your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister, or the person that you love that you're next to. But we're talking about society in general. A random person or schoolmate or somebody that is inconsequential, an NPC in your life.
Yeah, but Carl, if somebody is doing this to you every single day, and then they move it up a notch, besides saying words, they come in and thief your lunch money and stuff in your face in the toilet every fucking day, dog.
That's what happened to you?
No, I'm not saying it happened to me. I just gave an example. How it turned from words to physical to then something else.
No, like I said in the first episode, if that child's parents were raised right, they would go to the parent would take the actions, go to the teachers, go to the principal, and then if nothing happened, that child who was bullying should never bully them again, because the actions the child would take would stop them from doing it.
Only in a perfect world.
No, not in a perfect world.
Only in a perfect world. Because clearly in 13 Reasons Why, there was multiple different bullies, and there was multiple times when the kid has gone to different teachers, principal, even the guidance counselor, and they expressed certain things, even their parents, they explained certain things as to how they were feeling, what was happening to them. They didn't go in great
Very
detail.
nice, a movie, yeah? So that's a perfect
but it was
scenario.
based on a true story.
How accurate was the true story?
Very accurate. Thank you very much.
They did not embellish it for this big
Why are we
screen.
going down this flipping rabbit hole about how great Fuck off, man. The point is that this shit does happen, okay? There are signs and people miss them. It's not all the time you'll catch them. That this person is actually gonna do it and they're fed up of living life the way it's going. There are times when people do just like they're bullied, and it turns out that 3 out of the bullies in this show were being bullied before. And that's why they turned into bullies. One of them was struggling with their sexuality. Another one, father used to beat them. And so they used to take it out on other children at school.
So how struggling with my sexuality going to make me go on to somebody?
He used to beat up the boy that he in turn used to fuck in secret. I said in secret.
You remember that?
He was a lover.
So he was hiding it.
He was hiding his sexuality. He was on the varsity team. He's not supposed to be gay in his mind, in his parents' mind, in how he was brought up, in his reality, because it's not reality. Shut up, God. I don't catch what you say there.
This is also the segue into the second part of this, where we talk about relationships and bullying in relationships, where women can use their body parts to manipulate men, and that's a form of bullying.
So you don't take
finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. Men can use their wallets to manipulate women into do things for them. Yeah, that's you understand? And we're not only talking about sexual relationships. Parents can pit their child against the other parents, whether they're together or not together.
True.
That is also a form of bullying.
100% true.
Yes.
You know, so, Jason, give me something that you could think of that might be
a relationship,
bullying, or relationship, any kind of ship, friendship, relationship.
But they say bullying. With bullying.
You're the one saying
To me, I can see in the end of a relationship, somebody have some unresolved feelings and they chase the person away, and women have a way of saying, or one partner will say, oh, I don't want you, this and that and whatever. Then when they see the other person with somebody else, oh boy, they're ready to fight and all kind of thing. But that's not the same person you say you didn't want.
Yep.
And then they will go online and hunt down people that they never spoke to, never had a conversation with, don't know nothing about, and tell them the worst things about whosoever they say they don't want, or themselves. Oh, you have AIDS, you dog, you think he wants you? Da, 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 da. I get cold calls from fellas already ask me about people. That don't have nothing to do with me, so what between you and the person is you and the person. on Facebook, of all things, Facebook.
You clearly lived a very adventurous life.
My brother, if in 40 years you get one cold call, you're not throwing dick properly.
Facts.
You have to make them remember your name.
So I will keep my business private. But nonetheless, I for one thing have
That's what I do.
That means you're not doing it good. Now you just raising it.
Because I remember somebody going there, oh, that girl come and do me. I said, I never happened to you before. Yes, yeah. What do you like you, man? You never noticed one psychopath?
boy.
One person you just move their brains up and they don't know what to do with themselves after. You plead the fifth.
You're a real bully for real. This guy.
I bet you bully.
Yes, so
I'm a simple
now I for one do have the luxury of sharing all these stories that Jason has had, or even been able to attend at secondary school 40 years ago, like some of the people in But with all the bullying going around and all these generational issues, something could be said about COVID and the generation that grew up in that point in time. Because I think that that's the real weaker generation right there. They were the ones that were forced to be inside. Maybe they wanted to be inside, but they had to be inside during that time.
They already were accustomed or okay with being inside. It ain't bothered them.
I think forced is a strong word, yeah.
I actually think he's onto something.
But he is onto something there.
Yeah. So they grew up indoors. They wanted to be inside there anyway, and then they just stayed there. They never really left.
Yep.
They're always online, and then they embolden their actions and their words by whatever they do online, and that now is causing a problem.
You think they're emboldened? I don't think they grow out of it, because
I never think they grow out of it, eh?
As kids, we're a little awkward socially at first, and you're supposed to have a breakthrough moment where you recognize some things you just have to not give it air and deal with situations in real life.
True.
And the other things you have to live head on, some things you're not supposed to entertain. And
you don't learn that unless you experience it socially.
In real life. No amount of keyboards or simulation can teach or replace real life experiences.
Facts.
So you grew up on MSN Messenger, yeah.
And even my own child, she doesn't play games anymore because she said, so ask her why. She said, because her friends not there. I say, that's it. Even the only reason why I play a multiplayer online game is because they have other people playing. Even if it's stupid things they say, like people in a room and you have nothing to do except get electric shock, you prefer to get electric shock than do the thing. So even if somebody tells you some nonsense, you say at least there's another person on the line. God bless their heart. That's how I think of it when I play these online games. A child on the other hand might think, oh my God, what they telling me? What they telling me? What's up with that? And an adult who still have deep within those layers the memory of what used to happen to them and haven't really gotten over it would process it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Still carry the trauma of
I've seen
Facts.
They've done studies where kids who are under 16 would be home, 4 or 5 group of them. Maybe they play Roblox or whatever game that they play on their tablets and their phones. They would come in, not say a word to each other, log on to the game, and have a conversation,
Full conversation
through
the game.
The tablet. So they'll talk to the tablet to talk. So I'm talking to Jason. Jason, guess how we over there? So Jason, you see the thing there and go. The difference between a visual, Jason, guess I check the thing right there, whatever it is done, versus Jason, look at there, I stand on the bike, guess you're not seeing it. Like their world, their universe is that screen in front of them. And everyone else around them is part of that screen and vice versa, where we've created sub-universes, quote unquote, in our daily routine. And all they will say is, okay, I'm going home now, put the tablet down, whatever, bye, see you at school tomorrow, and they'll go. So the only interaction that they had verbally and physically was via the game, like you were saying.
Now that goes back to what I was saying, because I've seen my daughter do that already, where I bring over to a friend's house, they will spend the first 15 minutes pretending like the other one doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. That's just what children do. Like I watch my daughter play.
So you have not socialized the child properly?
I have not socialized the child properly.
I'm just looking for it.
No, I'm telling you, that is just the process. That is just the motion. So I'll go over to the house. Hey, that's your friend there. They play like they're seeing each other. Then you just leave them alone long enough. You see they start sharing dolls or whatever. They start dressing up and things. So, I have a daughter, sir.
No, I'm just surprised that you said dolls. That they play with dolls.
Why are you surprised?
Yeah, they play with dolls. So now instead of
They'll do that's amazing. That's amazing. They still do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
the ones
Carol,
I want to, anyways, because I
Carol,
didn't.
now instead of, so they will still do the pass street, but now they will log in the phone. Because remember, these games only imitate real life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're giving them an outlet that they have already, and it's actually a sickening outlet like cocaine. Because you're just stuck on a screen and you're hurting your eyes instead of looking at the real world. That's why so many more people wearing glasses now.
Which goes back to the point that Carl was making.
Yeah, that goes straight back to it.
It's how you raise your kids and what you're doing. Because I don't have kids, but I personally don't believe in screen time before a certain age. And even still, you're going to monitor that screen time. But a lot of the parents these days don't have time to actively spend time with the kids. So they put a screen in front of them. They work how much hours in a day. They come home, they're tired, they have to cook, they have to do all kind of other things to get the children ready. And then to spend time with them now after doing homework with them, like...
No, some of them just like the child. They just come home and they go, and they just go straight to the pacifier.
But we have the other, with the child being raised in a home, whether it be a single parent or
a two-parent
household. But one of the parents are a bully. It makes the child two things. They will become a bully because they either have their, what's the word for it? They will put up this barrier like, all right, I'm never going to let that happen to me. So in life, if they don't deal with that trauma, anything that looks similar to that,
they lash out.
They lash out.
So that's their protective mechanism. And it also makes them reclusive. So I don't want it to happen to me. So I don't trust anybody. I from that I see a little trait like that, I done with you. I rather just be in my phone or be at my home because I just don't want to go through it. And we'll go into a funny part of the relationship bullying where women will withhold sex from their boyfriends or their husbands to get them to do what they want. Why are you looking at me?
How is that?
I'm listening to you.
It is bullying because why?
I want to know how I'm asking.
Let me finish. It is bullying because you know your boyfriend or your husband likes you or is in love with you.
The person should.
So you are going to use the thing that you know he likes to get him to do what you want. So you are bullying him into doing what you want him to do to get what he wants.
So why can't I just get what I want and you get what you want and everybody be happy?
But that's what I'm saying. But there are people
how is that
who do
manipulation if both parties happy at the end of the friggin' day?
It is manipulation.
You want sex. I want to give it to you. How is that?
You want to?
Yes, I do.
Because that's supposed to be a relationship.
Maybe that's you, that's not what he's saying.
Yeah, but he's saying that the woman is using it to manipulate.
She's weaponizing it. She's weaponizing it.
So she's withholding it to weaponize it, manipulate the situation.
So when men withhold money to get what they want from women, it's not the same thing.
It is. You're trying to control.
Okay. So it's bullying.
It's not even about withholding money. You only give a certain amount for what you feel or these
So
things
I'm going to
that
say
the person
something really
deserves.
privileged there. If a woman tells you, or if you notice, like you will do something and she say, "Oh, no sex for you tonight." No sex.
Damn.
No sex from you
Damn.
tonight.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say a while ago. You do that, and then when the man step out, you want to get upset. But you starving the man getting a plate of food to eat, you don't think he'll take it?
Now, we have to understand a lot of people, they do not speak their truth when getting into relationship. Yeah, their truth. Everybody in their own world. So we have to make a little bridge with our language to the other person to try and communicate what we want. Babe, you're taking a little long with that thing, you know. What going on there? The food finished cooking.
Transparency and
Yeah. If you want me to make them cupboards for you, well, I have needs too, you know. It's not. I wouldn't watch it as bullying. I've heard.
I was just about to say, I don't see it as
Yeah,
bullying. It's
not
about
bullying.
speaking your mind and your intentions and making it known.
I've heard ladies told guys they seduce me. How you seduce me so? I wasn't ready. But if you wasn't ready, your body was ready before you. So you was just denying yourself.
You should write a book, you know.
How not to be a slut by Jason.
No, but I still. So all right. So when we look at bullying, right?
True story.
What would be the definition of? What is the actual definition of bullying? Can anyone tell me?
The definition of bullying, the broad definition, there are many definitions, but the broad one is using an unfair advantage with malicious intent against somebody else. So if I walk in and, like my daughter, for instance, you talk about us being a bully to our children. We had this little thing. I would just turn around and slap her in the head. How that happened? Is it because I'm a bully? No, it's because I'm bigger than her and she creep up on me and I turn around. I say, and I would have to tell her, you have to give me 2 feet of space because I might just turn around and you might get it in the head.
So you're teaching her a lesson.
Yeah. And we have that kind of weird relationship where I come out of the kitchen and turn off the light and she say, Daddy! I say, no, I'm sorry, I'm a customer being there by myself. So you think I'm not supposed to be here? Why are you telling me? I said, no, you was by your mom and I was there by myself. Is that bullying?
No.
Now, the same way you're laughing, she would laugh, and you know, it's a big joke because you know I there for and we there for each other. So that's not bullying. You're already bigger than the child. They always have a power imbalance. Online, the power imbalance is hidden in somebody hiding behind a keyboard or being far away. Now, when I heard that situation of the girl insulting the other girl for some fella that not even hers, I said, the girl should give you one slap in your face or fine you and do something with you because you too out of place. Oh, how you could say that? How you could say that about me? So what you want for trouble with the person? You're not the person trying from nowhere. The person bigger than you. They could just throw you down. But because you're on a keyboard, you amplifying the worst character traits about you. Like
And
that,
what you going to say, yeah?
like that stroke patient.
And then what if that other girl was one of those kind of people like, okay,
Bet.
I'm going to come and look for you.
Yeah.
Now,
Understand?
the
Now we
person,
see face to face.
the person
But they
never
do have
responded.
some people that like that too.
They never responded.
They never respond. Now, I'm like that. I'll come and look for you.
So that's why I'm saying you would mess with the wrong person online.
The other thing is rapping. We got to think about that in this rap about
Keyboard.
keyboard warrior. Keyboard. The other thing for them. Yeah, man. So it's something you call it, like keyboard Batman, something I can't remember.
So y'all are saying that you believe using a woman using her vagina or body or actions.
Manipulation, not bullying.
So isn't manipulation a form of bullying?
No, it's not.
But if by itself, manipulation by
No,
itself
listen,
is not
if
bullying
you
though. It's
have
how you
your
manipulate the person.
male or female, knowing that unless I do what they want, I am not getting this.
Is it a one-time scenario? Is it every single
recurring scenario?
So she withholding sex from you forever. So what the fuck you in a relationship?
No,
for?
what I'm saying is that
That don't make no sense.
It's time to
If
go.
you let any woman withhold sex from you for months on
but
end.
not months on end.
It's time to go.
Not months on end. You miss.
She fucking somebody else.
You
You fucking
changing
somebody
the entire
else.
scenario.
Yeah, but you bring this up.
No,
You trying to make it out that women is bullies because they want to hold their vagina. She just didn't want to give it to you.
You finish?
I am not done.
You finish?
Because you
Because
coming
I'm
from
not
a woman's
finished.
vagina.
What I'm asking you is the same way a woman will hold sex from a man and tell him, unless you have paid that, you're not getting it. So you get it today. Then next time she'll be like, oh no, but you have fixed the garage, so you have to wait 2 weeks before you get it again.
But you're the idiot if you want to wait
But
how
then
much time.
there are women who are bullied by men who have money. So they're in a relationship or they're married and the man is the
But is
I'm
that
just saying,
bullying?
I'm asking you, or the man is the
Because
breadwinner
it's a selfish
and he's like, you have to be the housewife and you can't get money to do your hair, you can't get money to go out unless you make sure the house is clean, you make sure the house is manipulation.
It's
but
bartering. Why am I giving you
Exchange is
money?
no robbery,
You
huh?
sit on your ass all fucking day. I ain't getting no food. I ain't getting no sex.
So if
The
she
house
decides to
dusty.
leave him, she'll be right, right?
Money for what? Well, leave. It's my money. If I don't want to fucking give it to you, I don't have to.
Because you misunderstood what I
guess-
said.
misunderstood.
Yes, you did.
Carol, I get exactly where you're coming from.
Bullying for holding your money.
So let me give you another thing.
No.
It shouldn't be dangled in front of your face
like a
every
carrot.
time. Yeah, like
I think it's more manipulation, straight up.
Here's a good example. The unfair advantage in that case would be you have a citizenship and my papers processing.
Oh boy.
And we have a disagreement. I don't know anybody in this country and I'm depending on you for my survival.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a disagreement, the first thing you bring up
is the papers.
the papers. That is bullying.
Facts. That's a big example because that happens more often than people would like to admit.
Yeah.
Not just in the States, but everywhere.
Or the person don't have a job. Now, if the person is asking you, trying to teach you how to fish, and say, hey, babes, you have to get a job because if something happened to me or I have a problem, I'll need you to
hold down the fort. Yeah.
Or just understand how I operate and what I do. You say, oh, how you gonna tell me that? You can't make me work. The husband now will take care of me.
Well, go and find one.
We have to make sure we treat them story times the way you're doing it there.
Yes. yeah, they have women now say that, and like you see, is exactly what I would say. I say, well, go and find him, man. I not making you hold that in front of my face.
Exactly. Same how if you tell me you ain't give me no dick, I'm not going to feel no type of way.
Said no man ever. I don't think.
That in front of me.
I don't think.
Said no man ever.
I do not think a man would. Now I've been in situations where I'm stressing out about the bills or something I have to do or some project, and I come into bed late.
Yeah.
And I really feeling for sex. Boy, they will beat me.
Is this an everyday occurrence?
It was for a week or a month.
So a week or a month, this
That's
was
a big difference. Big difference in time, bro. That's a big difference in
for
time.
a week or a month. Which one is it?
It doesn't
because it does matter, Jason. It does matter.
You don't want to tell the story.
You never see WWC when Roxy
For a week. That different. I hope it was the week she was on. She cycle. But if it's every day for a whole month. Oh Jesus, nah man. You
Now
can't be
you
tired
know-
every single blasted day for a whole month.
Sometimes you're just not in the mood to do your thing.
Well, say you're not in the mood.
You don't want to hear that now. The first thing they would say is, what woman you have checking?
That's what
But
I
you
was about
see
to
me
ask you,
in
tired
front
or
of your
tired
face
person?
coming from work.
That don't matter. All the man just find the time. Trust.
The women find the time too.
Everybody just find the time when they want to do what they want to do.
Well, to me, in that case, it's not bullying. It's just the person
But-
going through something.
It's bullying. Enunciate the words, please.
Okay, it's not
No,
bullying.
but I get what
It's
he's
something
saying.
else.
It's not, but in that instance, it's not bullying at
But
all.
who's to say the other person is not interpreting it as aggressive action against them?
True.
Feeling like you
True,
withhold
but
sex
why
from
not
me.
have a conversation about it? Because that's the biggest problem, the lack of conversation. Had you had
So
the
what is
person,
a conversation?
had the person asked like, so babe, I noticed it's been a whole month. Every day you saying you tired. We ain't having sex. What going on?
What are you nice girl like to ask for sex? As far as
Time out. It's not asking for sex. She asking why we not having sex. That's not asking for sex.
You hear the woman mathematics?
It's the why. And
So
you now
so
supposed to break it down and
her asking you
explain.
why we're not having sex is her way of asking you for sex without asking you for
I'm glad you catch on.
That's what they do.
How do you ask for sex?
We don't. You didn't
What do you
just
mean?
say the logic. I
Come to
don't
bed
ask for sex.
early. Come to bed early so we can.
No, there are signs. You will know
do you mean
when
there's
she
signs?
wants to get down. Okay, there are signs.
So I have to wait for a
Time out. No, I know that guys just give signs too.
Guys, give signs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for the woman to take it on.
hello. Fellas have an exclamation mark. Okay? From there, that exclamation mark there, the woman know you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
We
know,
have to-
coming close. Explanation.
I was talking about bullying.
Yes.
Yes, we are. But Carol was talking about weaponizing sex.
And
And
money.
whether it's a form of bullying or not.
Sex, money, citizenship, job.
Unfair advantage.
All these
This one
things.
name or rent.
But hold on.
Did I promise you rent?
Carnival,
No.
all the carnival costumes.
Food for children.
Time out,
Yeah,
time
food for
out.
children, pampers.
Group of in the conversation as it pertains to
Bullying.
relationships, but not man and woman relationships or boyfriend girlfriend. Hopefully, boyfriend girlfriend only. But in terms of relationships like parent child,
Yeah.
kind of dynamic. One of the unexplored ways in which I think parents bully is by telling your child, "Oh, it's me that bring you into this world," right?
Yeah,
You understand? I could take you out, them kind of thing, and forcing the child to have responsibility that you as a parent supposed to have. So, for example, you
too much your chores.
Let me ask a question. You know how many times somebody used to call you in the bedroom? Carol! Or your father call you in the bedroom? Carol! Yes, daddy? You come outside. Take that remote there for me, yeah?
And right next
No,
to them.
that's hand-me-down trauma. Okay? Because every parent has done that to their child now. Knowing so it's like, I need to make you feel what I felt.
Yeah, but hear that. If your child comes to you and tell you that you know I really don't like when you do me that, what would your reaction be to that?
I would have a conversation with them. And
Most parents' reaction will be, but it's be that put that over your head, it's be that feed it.
Hello, I am parent, you the child. You know what I tell you to do type thing.
For us, it is an innocent act. For us, it's an innocent act.
Right.
Carol, come on, they call you out, you come, you do it. You understand? But then when the child brings light to it, that they do really like when you do it, what is our reaction like to it?
Supposed to be.
What is supposed to be?
It's supposed to be. You're supposed to talk to your kid. You're supposed to understand that if they are truly hurt by the actions or it affects them, you stop it.
But is that the answer? Stopping it. Is that the answer?
Yeah, because if you are doing something
just
to
out of habit,
someone in any ship, relationship, friendship, parentship, and they come to you or they have the courage to come to you and tell you, hey, ABC, XYZ affects me, I don't like it. And not that you're just making me get up to this thing all the time. They're like that, just like that. I really don't like it because you're making me feel like I'm a slave or a robot or you don't love me, that kind of stuff. You're supposed to correct them and say, hey, no, I'm sorry, I love you. This is a question, this is, And it's just something that has always happened. My father used to do it to me, my mother used to do it to me. And I understand, I see you, and I'm sorry. I just stop it.
I was just about to say, if only parents in our generation would do something like that.
I want to help me out there because I'm not saying ye or me. I'm just putting it out there. Isn't that even with the conversation and you trying your best to correct it and appease the child that has an issue with it, isn't that setting them up for false reality in our world?
Now that's what I was about to come to.
In which way?
I get where you're coming from there.
In which way?
The fundamental question is, are you preparing your child for the road or the road for your child? That is the question. Now, it can be bullying or training. You know that you can bully your child by being overprotective too, not allowing them to develop.
Helicopter parents.
Helicoptering over them. Everything. Oh no, don't fall. Oh, don't do this.
Or as soon as they fall, you pick them up like if they're not supposed to fall. And learn.
Let me hear you finish.
Yeah, so you don't want to be too far on either ends of the spectrum. As a child get older, you're supposed to start handing off responsibilities to them. Even somehow meaningless tasks. Just to take them out of their head and make them understand that sometimes there are things out there you have to do that you do not like to do, but it's just to make you understand you don't have control over certain situations and to be a fortress in your head, more or less. Problem solving. That's my take on it. Because I used to have, my parents saw me doing the most, like everything I could do now and I take for granted is because of how they used to have me when I was younger. Like, I used to watch the kids playing and think most of the time I have to be with him, doing work with him. So one side, you have the contractor on that side and you have the nurse on that side. And I just end up with everything. Competent in a lot of things. I don't even know how I competent in that because that was a training I had before I could understand that was a training. So they have prepared me for the road and not...
Now, here's the other thing. Two forms of parenting can come from that scenario, or could have come from that scenario. And the father telling you need to come and help me because let's do this. You want to go and play outside, but you've seen the kids and you're learning it. An explanation might have been given lightly to say, hey, this is something that you need to know. This is something that you should grow up knowing as a man to do or whatever it is. This is paid your way, da-da-da-da-da. Or they just do as I tell you.
Carol, you feel as a child you hate and that making sense to you?
No, you're not. But the older you get, I know at the time it feels
very unfair,
right? But then the older you get, with the explanation or a little bit of reasoning, the understanding grows.
Yeah, 2020 hindsight.
Yeah, you understand? And that's the thing about it. Instead of, because they're children who grow up doing things with their parents and it was just do as I say. And they completely despise anything to do with whatever it is that they used to do with their parent because there was no explanation whatsoever. And they just grew up knowing that my father, my mother just made me do that. For no reason, they just made me do that. And I miss my friends going and play. I miss my prom. I miss going out on a Friday night or whatever it is versus, all right, daddy, I see you.
But you see, for me, how I perceive it, and I more leaning with the explanation with your child as opposed to just stopping it. So the reason being is when we have our kids, you understand? We have to understand, for one, they're not our friends, that we are preparing them to be able to leave our nest, right? And part of leaving your nest is, and it's the same concept. If that child is a woman, in person, and she come and tell you that, and then you're going to give her the same answer as the boy, it might not work. You understand? So let's just say I was calling my daughter to come and wash my underwear or something. So I just give you something, right? Wash my underwear. Somebody come and say, why make your daughter wash your underwear? You understand where I'm coming from? And like, so to you as a parent that's doing your parenting, in your mind, you're preparing your woman, your daughter to be a traditional woman.
Right.
right? Somebody else will watch that and see like, you just giving your daughter to do your chores. You understand? Now, you may have your particular trend of thought in how you want to raise your daughter. Nobody has the understanding of how you want to raise your daughter. But the most important person that needs to know how you want to raise her is her. So you may still have her continue doing the task, but make sure she has the understanding that yes, you are given the task. I'm your parent. The reason why I'm giving you that task is because at the end of the day, I'm preparing you to be a woman for your future husband. That could be your reasoning. I'm not saying that you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, you get
So when you have that kind of pull and push kind of effect with your child, you leave a better space for them not to feel like you have them in a bullied space.
Agree.
Right? So that, to me now, that makes the parent, from that vantage point, for explanation or conversation, that makes what could be perceived by somebody on the outside as a bully approach makes sense to the person involved in the exchange.
So I want each of you all to tell me what you think is your ultimate goal, achievement, or accomplishment you want for your child in 2 sentences.
Suppose you don't have a child.
Well, you just imagine. Let be your unborn child.
Okay. repeat the
What would you conceptualize or think of as your goal as a parent? If you have to close your eyes and say, at least this is what my child turned out to be, and I'm happy with it. It brings me content. Yeah, suppose you said it. Yeah, you want them to live the nest, but you can still say it again if you have to. Let me hear.
All right.
I stumped you all there.
No, I would say that I would want my son to understand that the world isn't fair and you have to go for what you want. That's it.
Okay, good stuff. Femi?
Fight for what's right and always be a go-getter, because sitting at home being lazy is not it.
That's something in line with what I would say. Ashton?
Wow.
And believe in yourself. Yeah. Sorry.
Ultimately, yeah, I think it's just really get up and get out there. Make it happen for yourself, because nobody's going to give it to you.
Mine is similar about living the nest, but my one objective for all my children would be to make sure that you have all that you need to be a good citizen.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what you did say before.
Our audience, what would you put to that question? If you had to be satisfied with one thing you taught your offspring in terms of how to live life, what would it be? What would you like to pass on to that offspring for them to know that life lesson?
What?
Learn and live.
Learn and live.
I saw you say learn and roll a joint.
I think it's more like live and learn.
I say learn and roll a joint. I'm like, this. But you know that puts something I just realized. So my dad's going to be 78 this year, and in his generation, most men didn't know how to cook. All women know how to cook. Then in our generation, which would be Nigel, Craig, myself.
What's
School in 2002? What's
your age?
That's
46.
5 years after, isn't it?
What's your age?
5.
What's your age?
45.
I 40 years old, I'm talking about.
Well, we have 5 years on your
Well, I'll be 46 in June. But anyway, our generation, all men and women, know how to cook. All right? Or the majority, statistics-wise, right?
No.
The younger generation, the man and the woman, none of them know how to cook.
Carol, you know this days, the women don't know how to cook.
That's what I say.
True. And the women just throwing down on the back of the cooking.
How to cook, thanks.
Under 25.
Okay,
Under 25.
great.
Okay?
All right, bring it back over our last audience member. What would
Yes.
you like to pass on to that check?
All right, well, like, what, my kids or what?
Yeah, also your Spanish, your Spanish.
Oh shit! Don't say it, walk a straight line as best as you can, as best as I would have taught you. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to give you all the wisdom. I can give you as much as I can, but don't take shit from anybody. Don't give shit to anybody. Live your life straight. Walk a good path. Be a good person in society. There's times when you're going to have to be an asshole, but do it respectfully.
Yes, be an asshole respectfully.
Be an asshole respectfully. And you can that,
Yeah.
You can be an asshole respectfully. You should ask my former boss. You can be an asshole professional in that.
But not necessarily a jackass.
There you go.
I like that. I like that.
Necessarily.
I think I steal now.
Respectable asshole.
But this is an asshole, but he's not a jackass.
I think that's way more than two.
Yeah, for me, I would say
You know that's called ignorant if you're an asshole and a jackass.
If you're a jackass, just
The
ignorant.
Caribbean thing is made ignorant.
It's funny, what's the difference between the two? Yeah, for me, I would say if I had to teach my offspring anything, man or woman, is learn how to be useful so you don't have to suffer the embarrassment of being useless, or the only thing you have to offer is just your body. That's what I would teach both a boy child or a girl child. So you in a relationship, that's a translation of it's not just sex you have to offer. You can do something else. You're not depending on somebody to put you on a yacht. You know how to pay your way or carry your own load. The very least you can do is carry your own load.
You carry your own news all the time, but yeah, man.
So that's what Nigel over there giggling about. Oh my God. I didn't see Nigel over there giggling. I'm like, what the fuck is he laughing at?
All right. Whatever that is.
These compre fellas, boy.
I think we were straight off the topic there.
Yeah, so that's what I would. So when you're in a relationship, you can just learn how to not be a wit, how to not have the other person annoyed with you. Because in a relationship, sometimes the way you thinking can never be the way somebody else thinking. But you have to find a common ground between the two of you, like we said in those many podcasts ago about parents. But about co-parenting. But it's the way you do one thing, the way you do everything. So the same way you treat the people at work, your friends, is the same way you'll treat the relationship. So that's what I would say. And as for the bullying, if you can't deal with yourself, people will always get underneath your skin. Because the boat does only sink when water gets in. That's when the boat sinks, when water always outside. The comments, the negativity, it's always there.
Learn to build water.
Yeah, you cannot have positive without negative. They're just two sides of the same coin. So somebody will always say something. What you don't want to do is just curl up in a ball as soon as you get a little thing. It can either be a stepping stone or a stumbling block. You have to make up your mind.
So before I agree with what you're saying, but that brings in one little question on my part. The idea of bullying is the onus of fixing the issue on the aggressor or the person being bullied.
It's a lesson for both parties.
Yeah, but then you have to think of it this way. The reason why I put it that way, sometimes, like we said in the last one, the aggressor or the bully doesn't see himself as a bully.
Yes.
But the person with more information is actually the person being bullied. Because they already rationalize that what that person is doing to me is bullying me.
Now, here is another weird thing.
Become the bully.
Most times, people sell themselves out. I've heard people, whatever you insult somebody on is the thing you're most afraid of somebody saying about you. Like you said, Carol, is it happened to you, so before it happened to you, you do it to somebody else.
Yeah.
I chop your hands before you get to chop mine.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. So when you hear them talking about women does that a lot, when they go out, they watching each other. Look at her hair. Look at this. Look at that. As a man, I watch, I say, I don't even watching all that. Huh? And then you hear them talk to themselves. That same voice inside their head telling them this. Don't watch at my toes. Don't watch at my stretch marks. Or whatever. My girl.
Women are the most critical of each other.
Yeah, more than a man.
Yeah.
But what you were saying a while ago, the onus is on the person being bullied, the victim. Simply because if there's no one to bully, there wouldn't be any bullying.
But do you know you have to choose to be a victim?
Exactly.
When the man see that figure, I just chuckle and say, okay, I come in for you. Hey, let's go.
Exactly. The onus is on you.
Never think, oh my God.
Why you take my girl?
Why you take my girl?
The onus is to toughen your skin, broaden your back, and learn retort.
But you understand? But we have to take into, and I mean, like I said, we agree, we agree. So we're not at odds in terms of the thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we get the bullied in general to see themselves as value?
As what?
As somebody of value, because generally you feeling the pressure of the person bullying you. What would you do if it was our own? Not just kids.
Only help somebody if the person don't want help them. Just say.
No. I'm not asking in general.
How would you?
We let's just say at this point we come to an accord in terms of what we believe the owners who bears the responsibility for changing the bully dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could all agree that the person who has the most information is the person being bullied.
Yes.
How do we get in general somebody listening to the podcast? What few words can we tell that person that could help them start that switch?
You can't have to kill it, like, just kill that vibe, kill the bully vibe. Like, for example, if you say something to me that I know you're trying to bully me, I'll be like, that's an interesting concept. I never thought of it like that. I'm surprised you came up with that. What do you think of that? Like, you know, just, it's like, they're like,
flip the script.
Yeah, you
flip the
stun
script.
them.
Just flip the script, and you're like, wait, what? That have no effect on you?
Because it's the reaction they're looking for.
They're looking for a reaction. You don't give them that reaction that they're looking for, then it just blows them out of the water. Whereas you could counter bully them. For example, if Carol comes and tells, boy, you still peeing in bed? I tell them, I don't know, maybe ask your mother. You know what I'm saying? Ask your mother if she wake up before 90 one day. You know? And Carol, like, why fuck me? That's not like the story. You kind of have to be that type of person, right? As Carol rightfully said. You have to be able to take it and dish it. Or dish it and take it, whichever way that works out. Right? So for example, the way I just said, Carol tell, boy, you still peeing in bed? Yeah, ask your mother. You have to be quick, you know, on your thoughts and stuff like that. And that's not exactly the best way to deal with it, but it works. You know? So it really works. So here's what I would ask each of you.
Can you spot a situation where you were bullied and you realized it?
No.
Now, me as a habitual line stepper, I've spot many situations.
Yeah, maybe as a big sister to a little sister.
Now, this is your remedy. You have to share that experience. Okay, now find a less person. Just express it. So
I'm going to say
Ashton going to get the
I'm going to say no because I'm just not a big asshole as you. Not that big.
Wow,
I'm an asshole.
You just bullied him.
You see, that may mean you just not critical enough of yourself.
I can think of one. I was in primary school. I think we were at the end of the year, and I got peer pressured into bullying somebody, and I threw them in a dumpster for some reason. But I've always been a quiet person, a soft person. I don't like conflict or confrontation, and I don't think in school I ever. People tried to bully me, but I was always quick with my retort and stuff. So it was just more like it just became a banter thing, all the time or whatever it is. And my friends say, "Oh, your head big." I tell them, "Boy, you look big like a." Or they say your head big like a Juve crowd, and I say you look big like a green fig. And you just back and forth and just do that, and eventually it just becomes a toughening exercise. So that only time in primary school was the only thing I can think of that I ever physically or verbally or did anything bully someone. And that was one instant thing. It wasn't a continuous thing.
Okay, so I can remember something.
Oh, you remember? Okay.
Not with my sister though.
Okay.
Of course not.
Okay, good. Stop bullying.
Come on now.
We should call him all the time. Because someone look on baby face and I said, just find a less person.
You don't want her to kill me, so I can't say that on air. But yeah. So there's this girl in my class that, well, I never really sat down next to her, so I wasn't really smelling it until one day, like my friends them tell me, well, yo, I feel you should sit down next to so-and-so and let us know if you smelling what we smell it, because we hanging out with her all the time and we smell it. So I was like, smelling what? They was like, either she don't wear deodorant or
Boy,
the scent just high, like hygiene just not working out under her armpit.
No, I almost say something on it that would get me cancelled.
And so we kind of, like, I smelt it and then I realized, like, them people used to be talking about the girl all the time and I kind of semi-joined in with them. Joined them. And then I felt bad about it. So then I went and I asked her a question as to why. I was like, yo, like, I just think it's beneficial for all of us, including you, mainly you. If your hygiene was a bit better, like, what are you using deodorant? What type of deodorant are you using? What soap do you use? We going through puberty right now. Like, we going through changes. Like, shit be smelling, bruv. Like, I play sports, so I totally understand. You have to use male deodorant sometimes. So I asked her all these questions and she was willing to open up and she told me, well, she don't really use deodorants or whatever the case is and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, what kind of soap you using? And then she told me, I was like, I don't think that soap working for you. So I went and I researched how much different things she could use that natural, because she was all of, like, her culture is all about natural vibes. So I went and I researched how much natural thing and I give it to her and I say, hey, I think you should try some of these natural things because it's not just me, it's you. And like, you have to, like, it's not just about me, it's other people and also for yourself.
Was she aware that you were bullying her?
No.
Was it bullying?
Been a friend.
It was bullying in my instance because I was, yeah, but them days, some of them used to tell her to her face, bro. Like, exactly, but I still felt bad because I joined in.
You was an accomplice to the...
I was an accomplice to it. I saw it and I said nothing. I laughed.
Sorry, you smelled.
You still laughing?
I smelled it.
So then you were the victim.
I was not. I was partially a victim. I was a victim. My nose was walking.
All right. That's good. You were bullied.
I really... What? How am I a bully? Where?
I showed you a goddamn liar. You cannot think of one time in your whole big life.
Nope.
You feel like you treat somebody unfair?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nah, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count? Sure.
Nah, I don't. Seriously. Nothing I can think of.
Sure.
Oh,
I guess stories.
I have a next one.
Get stories.
One.
Get stories.
So my sister used to get bullied in primary school. And because we went to the same primary school, but I was like some grades ahead of her, all her friends used to come and eat lunch with me all the time, right? With my friends. We was cool kids, man. So shit was lit. Anyways, she came and she told me, like, somebody in her class keep bothering her and troubling her and what's not. So I was like, just point out the person to me. And she points out, She points out the girl. I go and I rough her up and I tell her, you see that girl there? Anytime you see her, just walk in the other direction type thing. And I like, it's more than once I tell her, like, you gotta leave my sister alone. And then another time, my friends now saw her bullying my sister and I wasn't there. And they went up and they tell her, like, yo, we going to tell Femi, you better leave Rihanna alone. And turns out, like, the person that was bullying my sister and who I in turn bullied with my friends was related to us. I know to this day, like, they're one of like our favorite relatives.
But does that make it any better what they're doing?
It doesn't.
I had a plot twist. Had a plot twist. Had a plot twist. I was in primary school.
Yeah.
The plot twist is that's why you had 2 years of suffering in secondary school.
How did I suffer in secondary school?
2 years.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of rough. It was.
Your environment.
But that's okay. That's okay. At least the Form 4s and 5s wasn't the ones torturing me. It was random new kids in Form 1.
Imagine uniforms on a Form 1 torturing you.
Wow. Yeah.
What?
Imagine uniform 2 and a Form 1 torturing you.
No, I was in Form 1 when I was being tortured. From Form 1 to Form 2. After that, everything was crispy.
Me, man.
Bully story, go ahead.
Yeah, what I recognize sometimes I need to shut the fuck up. Not everything you think it have to be said. That's what I recognize. Yeah, you see what Ashton did there? And it took my friends to make me recognize, boy, sometimes you just need to chill out yourself and leave the people alone. Even if it's true, it doesn't make it any better you tell the person whatever it is going on. Sometimes even if it's the bitter medicine the person don't need. So you just need to try and put yourself in the person's shoes. The girl getting fat, maybe she have some hormonal issues.
No, the suggestion. What I'm saying to you is that if the honest situation was that the person's hygiene was bad, and some people are oblivious of themselves. That's not actually a fact. Yeah. Some people don't smell themselves. Right? So if you go and you tell the girl, that's you're really not smelling good, right? Let's just say you see how I said it then.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to, you just ghost her. Oh, you understand? You tell her, Michael, did that go really work out because you're not my type, blah, 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 blah. Is that it?
I think it's not, I think you should tell the truth, but it's not not even if you care about the person or not, but it's how you say it, not what you say, right? And sometimes they might take it the wrong way depending on how you say it. Like if someone was to say what you just said,
they will still take it away?
They would take it away. So it's how you say it, not what you're saying.
And could still say 10 times nicer than me.
Let me give you an example, right? Imagine you have this classmate who has that same hygiene problem.
Right.
And a group of y'all decide, I put together a toiletry hamper for the person. You think that's bullying?
Nigel, smell up.
The fuck?
Remember smell up?
Oh my God. Y'all done now. Done. That's not nice. Y'all continue with the bullying in adult life. Stop this.
Listen, there was a particular person that come through.
One of my friends, we went on a walk, we was part of the environmental club. And boy, make come to school, with some shiny ass shoes, like tuxedo shoes to go on that hike. So whole day with the kicking off on the man's shoes. Now, that speaks to, just because it's true, that don't mean you have to harp on it. I think the better thing to do is to point it out to the person and just leave it alone. Don't ride on it, keep talking about it continuously and make it a point of conversation on the whole hike. Luckily, my friend, he didn't care. We even called a teacher over. That was our dinner of disciplinary. See, so I see your shoes really shining nice there. But what about these shoes over here? Boy, the teacher was that, but that's must have one laugh. Because how you come in on a hike with that shoe? But I would say
you knew you were hiking, so it's not like it wasn't known.
Yeah, exactly. That was the only pair of shoes because as children, we're not choosing what our parents give us.
Yeah.
It's what they give us, we just take it. So I
I'm not
think
sending my child like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'd rather you not go than to know I sending you with the only pair of shoes you have, which is totally out of sorts for the activity you're into.
yeah, as an adult, I look back on that and I say that was just mean to laugh at the man for his shiny shoes. And me and the man was always good friends, you know. Even then we was good friends, but it's just a kick-offing. But when I look at it, that was bullying. So I think the best way to deal with it, even if it's true, pull the person aside, talk to them privately, see what the situation is. If that's the only pair of shoe or whatever, and just don't make it an issue longer than it have to be. Don't be the monk that crossed the river. Two monks crossing the river. You're not supposed to carry women. One of them saw a woman on the other side of the river. He brought her over. They walk for 5 miles and the other one say, but you know you're not supposed to carry women or lift women across. And the other one say, but you that's still carrying her in your head. I put her down 5 miles back. So be the first one that just carry and drop. You tell the person, you move on, and you don't bring it up or tell everybody like you say in a workplace situation where you...
Oh, that reference you give me, that just fucked my mind up. Which I actually really...
Nobody, right?
It makes sense to you? It didn't make...
No, it doesn't make sense. I try to figure out like two months crossing the river, but that's mine. Yeah.
Well, that's why I said 2 months crossing the river.
So the rule is you're not supposed to be carrying the lady. The one the lady need, he put her on his back, he lift her across the river, he put her down, and he continued on his business. The other one was so offended by what he did. He stayed quiet for 5 miles and he said, but you know you're not supposed to do that over there. And he said, but I left her there. You still have that in your head.
You're still carrying her.
You're still carrying her in your head. So it's what you were afraid for yourself, you there accusing me of, and you still have that in your head. That's why I say the things you tell people, you have to listen. You can learn a lot from it because that's the things you were afraid of yourself.
True.
That's the true way to defeat. Bullying is just empathy and compassion for your fellow human being. And a little joke once in a while is okay, but don't write the...
So let me just be devil's advocate one more time on your little end there. So anytime when the man say he screw your woman, you scared that the truth of the man actually took your woman came out?
I laughed at it.
And I'm just asking if that's what I asked you. Right?
That's if I was scared.
If you were scared that the truth of the man that actually took your woman comes out.
But it's not me that telling me anything. Yes, yeah. Guys, let me tell you.
No matter what you care about.
Everybody get one already. Everybody give one already. If you feel you take one, you just take one in and you didn't know.
You just don't know.
You just don't know you take one.
I think I wasn't bullied.
I will tell that story off camera. I trust me, I'll tell that story off camera. Because if I tell the person, know what I'm talking about.
Wait, make sure you get that back. You know what I'm talking about.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Grown Folks Only Podcast for another exciting and funny episode. We end our season 2 on this note that life is what you make it. Do not allow things to affect you. And if they are affecting you, do not be prideful and ask for help. I will ask every one of our staff here today to give a little short sentence. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit tired. Short sentence of a word of advice as we end season 2. Femi?
Stand up for yourself and for others. I honestly feel that a lot of times we see things happen and we feel like it's not our place to say anything. And one thing that I've learned about this podcast and what I hope that our viewers are learning about this podcast is that we're not afraid to speak about what's on our minds. And sometimes speaking or words have weight. So speak up on things that are affecting you. And if it's not affecting you, that are affecting others that are important. So stay tuned for season 3.
ignore, ignore, ignore. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just walk away, take a few minutes, think about the situation, and then, come back with a brighter idea, a more sensible action as opposed to violence or all the senseless things that are happening nowadays.
Actually, I still feel you have a story you will not tell.
I have a lot of
But
stories.
anyhow,
so
yeah,
I
you have a lot of stories.
That's what the first film.
You.
For me, I would say, just understand that all of us living in our own little unique world. And the way you may take something might not necessarily be the way someone else takes something. And it's okay if somebody never gets what's going on with you. It's not their place. It's for you to understand and for you to make your own rainbows. As simple as that.
Grown Folks Only Podcast.